Hello, good morning. My name is Grace Borcherding,
I'm Ava Thomas.
and this is Slag News.
Today we will be talking about women registering with the Selective Service. According to the United States government website, a draft is the mandatory enrollment of individuals into the armed forces. Almost all men aged 18 to 25 who are U.S. citizens or immigrants living in the U.S. are required to be registered with the Selective Service. U.S. law calls for citizens to register within 30 days of turning 18 and immigrants to register within 30 days of arriving in the U.S. There are a few exceptions. The Selective Service System is the agency that registers men and is responsible for running a draft. But the government can still reinstate the draft in case of a national emergency. The United States military has been all volunteer since 1973. From 1940 until 1973, during both peacetime and periods of conflict, men were drafted to fill vacancies in the United States Armed Forces that could not be filled through voluntary means. The draft came to an end when the United States Armed Forces moved to an all-volunteer military force. However, the Selective Service System remains in place. All male-at-birth citizens between the ages of 18 and 25 are required to register so that a draft can be readily resumed if needed.
According to the Selective Service System website, if you are required to register and you don't, you will not be eligible for federal student aid, federal job training, or a federal job. You may be prosecuted and face a fine of up to $250,000 and or jail time for up to 5 years. If you're an immigrant to the U.S., you will not be eligible for citizenship. The draft has been employed by the federal government of the United States in 5 conflicts: the American Revolution, the American Civil War, World War I and II, and the Cold War, including both the Korean and Vietnam War. According to USA Today, it is unconstitutional to require only men, not women, to register for the military draft now that women can serve in combat. In 1981, the Supreme Court ruled that women do not have to be registered due to the services not allowing women in combat roles, but that changed in 2015.
Good morning, my name is Sarah Jane Borcherding, and today I'm going to be talking to you about our poll. Our question was, should women be required to register with the Selective Service when they turn 18? We asked people 4 questions in our poll. We asked for their age, race, gender, and whether or not women should be required to register at 18. We had 196 responses. 58% of people said no, women should not be required to register with the Selective Service at 18, and 42% said yes. What surprised us most is that mostly women said no. Also, most people under 18 said no.
Hi, I'm Liz, and I'm going to tell you about the population that we polled. So, the factors that influence our community's opinion include the huge movement today for complete equality between men and women. Our big sample size minimizes our margin of error, but there's still some sample bias. So, our big sample size minimizes our margin of error, but there's still some sample bias, including the fact that our poll is mostly students and that it's 70% women.
After looking at the results of our poll, it can be concluded that women do not want to be required to register with the Selective Service at 18. It was mainly teenagers and teenage girls that said no, and we found that several adults said yes.
So it's expected that in the South or in more conservative regions, people would be expected to not be in favor of women being drafted, whereas in more liberal regions, it would be the opposite.
So good.
I'm kidding. Hopefully they know I'm kidding when I talk.
Oh my god, it's too early for this.
It's almost 11.
Okay, I'm going.
You just hate yourself?
Oh, okay, I'm just too much of a happy person to do this. Ugh. Okay.
Our big sample size minimizes our margin of error, but there is still some sample bias, which include the fact that our poll is...
Okay. What surprised us most was that mostly women said Okay, what surprised us...
Come on, you got it.
Okay.
Are you ready?